Welcome to T Boys TV
Pro Sports.
and Brummy on tour. Obviously, Harry's not quite here again, but obviously we're on his channel as well. So big up to everyone that tunes in from his channel. But yeah, obviously we're here for the championship show. Obviously, we will go into a bit of detail on obviously Hull and Luton's games like we did last time, and then obviously we'll preview this weekend's games. But you all good, Lewis?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
Good. I bet you're delighted. About your game yesterday. You weren't very confident going into it, which was fair enough. Because it is, Burnley, you are one of the best sides in the league. Yeah, we'll talk about that game first. 1-1 draw, Lewis. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd absolutely take it. I'll say that much. First half, we was absolutely all over them. It should have been maybe two, maybe even three with some of the chances we had, but Trevor done okay half, I guess. Like, he made a few stupid errors, like when he kicked it out for a fucking corner because he had backspin and whatnot. But no, it wasn't too bad. I mean, the goal was a little bit frustrating. I mean, Louis Cole had his ankle snapped about fucking 3 times, but these things happen. The guy just came on and he was fresh and whatnot. So I don't mind. I mean, I don't mind it, but it's just like a little bit frustrating because I'd say we probably deserved the win. Second half, yeah, don't get me wrong, it completely switched the tie, and don't get me wrong, they were a better team, but overall, I'd say we probably just about deserved the win. Well, we didn't get the win, but we probably would have deserved the win. They definitely didn't deserve to win as much as they missed an absolute sitter in the last minute. But if they did score that, then it was completely unjustified and very frustrating if they did score that. But obviously, they didn't. So thankfully, we got the point. I mean, like I say, it was definitely deserved. And realistically, it should be 2 out of 6, which I would have took going into his last 2 games. But I don't mind just the. I mean, I do mind just the one because it just makes us drift like a little bit from top 6. Like, not like I'm not expecting top 6 or anything like that, but it's just like going to push it a bit up the table, and it would have gave us a massive boost going into Derby at the weekend. But after last night, I'm still confident going into Derby, so we'll see. But I'll absolutely take the point. Like I said, they missed a sit, and if they did score that, it would have been completely not deserved. But no, I'll absolutely take it. And like I say, personally, I think we was just about the better team.
Mm. Yeah, like you say, obviously it was on the same time as Luton, but I've managed to see moments from the game, and you were very dominant, like you say, in the first half. You had great chances, and you stuck it on him. And I think and I've said about Trafford for a while. I don't rate him, that highly. I don't know how one season in League One warranted him, 20 odd million or whatever it was, 20 million.
Something
And
like
you,
that, wasn't it?
yeah, and you see on obviously you go, you got he could have done a bit better. He should have done a bit better realistically, but still, you deserved it. You put that pressure on him, and I think that's what you need to do with him. I remember last season when we drew 1-1 at their ground, we stuck it on him. Obviously, he was trying to waste time and do all that. The rest. Obviously, the Luton TikTok made a bit of a meme out of that. But you just got to put the pressure on him. I think, and that's what you did. And I agree. If you didn't, if you lost that game, it'd been very undeserved because you put in a great performance. And all right, maybe they weren't as good, but they got punished, for not getting the whole result that they thought they would have got. Maybe they underestimated you guys going into it a little bit, just due to the quality of players they do have. But sometimes you think you just walk all over these teams, but it's the championship. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's good in their own way. So massive credit, to you guys. Great point. Very unlucky not to obviously get anything against Sunderland. We've got robbed, like us. So it's just one of them things, isn't it? But yeah, no, great point. Great point for you guys. But yeah, talking about robberies, right? Let's go
I
straight
mean,
into.
just to point out as real quickly, like, I don't know if it was Scott Parker's pre-match interview back at Burnley, or whether it was his post-match interview that did when he got back this morning. He got a question about, is he surprised where they are? And he said yes and no, because like with the quality they do have, but he's like he is slightly surprised in terms of the fact like they're just into like a new system and everything like that. But he said it's like it's full credit to everybody, to where we are, for completely sticking to the plan and the process that they are on as a club. Which is fair enough. I mean, I think he can acknowledge that they wasn't the greatest last night. I mean, Cody Oster, he's not that good at all. And he they do have the quality, like the likes of Brownhill and people like that, and even Brownhill, like he didn't do like massive bits last night, like nothing that I'd say terrified in terms of like chances. Like he didn't really like there was one bit in the second half where, don't get me wrong, it was a little bit nervy in the fact that nobody was putting pressure on the edge of the box, and he had chances to shoot and he just didn't. That's the same with that that Medjugorje in the first half. He was pretty shy last night. But no, like I say, we defended well. But when we had the chance to attack, we attacked fairly decent. Like I say, yeah, we probably should have had maybe one or two more going into half, but I'll take the point. I don't really. Against a team that you probably would expect to go up, it's 4 point. And I mean, if we can do that at Turf Moor, then before like that at Turf Moor, I don't see why we can't get another point against them. And not many teams probably expected getting too many points from Burnley, so I'll take 2 out of 6 if that's the case. But obviously, it's going to be a completely different task for me to have to go to Turf Moor. I don't know when it is, but whenever, obviously, it's going to be a completely different task at hand.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, like you say, you got a point at home against them. That's always good. Like you say, going into it, not confident at all, really. And obviously QPR playing next. We'll get into that a bit later, but I don't think at the same time you like to play, one of the higher end teams when it comes to quality of players when they've not got quite the result they would have wanted, especially Burnley back at home. So it's going to be quite interesting, that game. But yeah, moving on to this game, robbery, eh? Obviously the lineup. No complaints about the lineup. Given the injuries, it's probably the best we could go with. Good to see Holmes still starting, regularly. Obviously, hopefully now he does be involved in the team, even when, likes of Mengi's back, for example. Clark there with Prowse, it worked against Watford. Obviously, it was good to see we stuck with the same, 2 up front, Morris and Elijah, and then obviously Chong behind. Yeah, one of them, the lineup, no complaints. Going into the actual game, first half, similar to Watford in the sense of a bit of a shaky start. Sunderland had 2 great chances. Obviously, one of them over the bar. They should have realistically put it on target. And then obviously they had the chance where Moses did get done a little bit too easy. And that's where you see his vulnerabilities as a wing-back. And obviously they had the back heel shot. Kaminsky saved it, hit defender, went back to him. And then we grew into it a little bit, playing some nice football. We looked like we were in the Premier League again, or at least playing like a Premier League team like we did at moments last season. In the sense of the quick passing, the good 1-2 football, getting in behind. There was a spell where before Morris had his shot that went wide, after his shot, we had 4 corners in a row. We were putting that pressure on them. The keeper made some good saves as much as he was wasting time and stuff. He made good saves. The McGuinness header. McGuinness is always looking a threat from set pieces, in the attacking sense. And he's been really good the last 2 games, but he was pretty good in this game again. And then obviously the controversy happens with the goal. Now, I'll be honest, obviously on the watch long, I had to have another look at it. But looking back at it, Morris was absolutely right to be fuming, and what made it even worse is the linesman was on that side. Do you know what I mean? Where he's tried saying, I've seen a few people trying to say Clark's interfering. He's not. Boxes went for the header and not even touched it anyway. Do you know what I mean? And even then, that was before Morris even got the shot. He's not in the way of the keeper. You see a similar thing in the Man City game, and that got given, which it should have, by the way. And it should have been given here. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It's not even a tight debate. Is it offside or whatever? It's just, it's awful, isn't it? It's awful officiating there. And Morris was, like I say, rightly so fuming. We go in at half time. I did
Without 0-0.
Yeah. Yeah, no, literally. And like I say, we go in at half time. I was saying, hopefully, as much as the performance has been there still, like the relentless pressing, Elijah was like, we thought he'd be a bit more tired because how hard he worked against Watford. But he was still proper pressing, not to that level, but he was still on it. But I went in on the watch long. I said to myself, well, that should spur Morris on even more now to get a goal or assist. Obviously, they got the goal out of nowhere. Chong, not a great pass back, we have to be honest. And then obviously they took full advantage of that 1-0. From that moment in, I'm thinking, it's going to be one of them games in it where we've dominated but not quite get a result. And then we get an equaliser. We had a few chances before that. Elijah, header. To be fair, that was a good save. Another good save by Patterson. And then obviously we got the goal from a free kick. Doughty. His crossing was a bit hit and miss this game. There was good crosses, like I say, that spell where we have 4 corners in a row. And then obviously the goal, great ball towards the back, which we do a lot, towards Morris. And Morris done really well to play it across to Elijah. Elijah couldn't miss. He could not miss that at all. And obviously he got the equaliser, 1-1. From there on in, I'm thinking, well, we at least deserve to be drawing. We do not deserve to be losing at all. And then the typical thing happens. We concede pretty much straight away, right? That's happened too many times in the last couple of seasons. Grimsby at home in the FA Cup. We had one Luton fan near me giving it the mouth to all the Grimsby fans go, hey, all that. So, giving it a little bit. And then they equalise, right? I'm literally doing a vlog. Look up, they've scored. I'm like, that's just good, isn't it? Burnley last season in the Premier League done the same thing. Yes, maybe there's a foul on Chong, but at the same time, we need to be defending better. It's too easy for them to get in behind and get the shot away. Great finish, by the way. I'm not taking anything away from the finish. It was a brilliant goal. Kaminsky was beaten. He had no chance. But frustrating in that sense of conceding straight away. Whether you think it's a foul or not, it's like my dad said earlier, you have to play to the whistle. Do you know what I mean? And another thing that none of us said, but I'm going to say it anyway, we always say, fuck the FA and the Football League. Do you know what I mean? The charm. So, half the time, you ain't going to get nothing against these mugs. And it's not just us, I'm not saying that, but at the same time, you've got to take that into account. Just play to the whistle. Do you know what I mean? We should have really known based on that goal that didn't stand that this might have come, during the game. And it did. At 2-1, I'm thinking, well, I'll be happy to get a draw now. Out of the game, like, I would have took a draw going into it anyway, because they are on good form. We're not, yes, we beat Watford 3-0, but we're not on the best of form. Do you know what I mean? Throughout the whole season. So I would have took a draw going into it, as much as I said I thought we were going to win. I would have took it. We do draw heavy with Sunderland, and they did have a poor record at Kenilworth Road before it yesterday. But then they go on to win. I mean, bit of controversy at the end. Should we have had a penalty? Some people saying Moses went down a bit too easy, looking for it. But at the same time, all right, well, the Clark one, we should have definitely had that for me. Even the commentators said it. They know what they're trying to do. Pull his shirt and then quickly pull it. So it's, you don't fully see it. And again, it's one of them games, isn't it? We knew it had come at some point where you look at it and you go, well, if we were in the Premier League like last year, we'd have probably got a lot of these decisions. But is what it is. It will come back and bite them in the bottom. Well, it should do anyway, because that's 2 games in a row they've got away with stuff like that. I don't think they're all that. Like I've said, guys, I think they'll get playoffs. I do believe they'll get playoffs, but I just don't think they're a top 2 team. I think they'll run out of steam in the end. And a lot of people crying about the way Luton playing, it was hoofball. No, it wasn't. Do you know what I mean? And even if it was hoofball, it don't matter. you know, it doesn't matter how you play football as long as you win games. Like the hoofball that they talk about is the same hoofball that works when we beat them in the playoffs. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't matter, does it? And they got us up, but it weren't just that anyway. We were passing the ball around nicely at times in the game. The performance was there. I'm not disappointed in anything other than the second goal in the sense of conceding straight away. We need to not make that a habit. Um, Holmes, he is a centre back, but he did have a great chance that he should have put on target. And at the end of the day, he did have a good shot against Watford from the Clark goal. That was definitely going on target. Whether it's going in was a different question. But a few little moments, but overall, I'm happy with the performance. I weren't too disappointed with us as a team. Rob Edwards, the only thing I will say, I like their changes. The only one I didn't like was Joe Taylor coming on in the 90th minute. I just don't see the point of that, giving him 5 minutes. Woodrow coming on before him. Nah, not for me. And I know a lot of people will agree with that. But overall, I was happy with the performance. It was a good performance. We didn't deserve to lose. We at least deserved to draw, at least. But it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? I know they've had decisions go for them, but they are top. So at least we didn't get absolutely humiliated and just individual quality for them. I don't think they've done well as a team. I just think it's individual quality and they got it over the line. But it should have been a draw. We know that realistically. So is what it is. We've got to bounce back after this questionable defeat against Coventry, which won't be easy. I'm not underestimating them at all, but obviously we'll get into that nearer the time. So yeah, I mean, man of the match, I give it to Elijah because he got his goal and he worked hard again. I mean, if Morris his goal counted, I'd give it to him because he got a goal and an assist at least. But yeah, no, Elijah. Hopefully now that kicks him on like it did with Morris. It should do. So that's the type of players him and Morris are. They're confidence players, and I see a few people saying, "Oh, stop playing them up front together." What are you talking about? Last two games they played up front together. They've both scored in a game each, and a championship. Last time we was in it, that was the reason we went up. Obviously, partly of that and the Canberra as well doing really well in front of defence and everyone as a whole team having a leader at the back in Lockyer and stuff. But at the same time, that worked before. Do you know what I mean? So I don't agree with that. You've got to carry on playing them. Maybe as the season goes on, you bring Jacob Brown involved, definitely, because he tried to make an impact yesterday. There was a moment where he did pass it to Doughty, and I don't blame him for that. That shows that he's not a selfish and greedy player, but Doughty should have scored. Let's be honest now, he should have scored there. So there's little moments like that where I look at it and I feel, well, we could have got something out of the game, but I'm not. I can't be angry at the players. Unlike other games, Sheffield United, Plymouth, away. Them games I can be fuming because a couple of players turned up at most. But this game, no one was bad really. Maybe a few question marks over Chong. Do you drop him in the next game? Because obviously the pass for the first goal weren't great, and obviously the moment where he's got to be more physical. Do you know what I mean? That's the problem with him. But overall, it is what it is, and I'm not too disheartened with the boys. We just got to move on, and it's a quick turnaround, isn't it? So good opportunity. Even though Coventry are in a bit of mud, I'm not going to underestimate them at all, like I say. But we'll get into that nearer the time. But yeah, let's move on to a game week 12 preview. So obviously the first game is actually on my birthday. There is a game on my birthday, and that is between Portsmouth and Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, interesting game, really, going into this one because Portsmouth did get a win. Obviously, 2 games ago now against who was it again? Who the hell did they beat at home? QPR, sorry. QPR, that was it. So this is their first time since they've won coming back at home. They're one of them teams you would think, if they are to stay up, which obviously, a lot of us had high expectations they will. These home games, which they haven't quite made a fortress yet, haven't won at home yet. So I mean, for me, I think it's a good opportunity because Sheffield Wednesday, they've been very hit and miss, haven't they? You know, a lot of people had higher expectations. They've finished mid-table, or at least survived this season. And they've been very hit and miss, like I say, 0-0 draw during the week. I mean, not the worst result, but I did think, you know, them being at home, they can try and capitalise and get a win. Didn't quite happen. Portsmouth, I'd say, I mean, they did lose to Cardiff, which I don't think there's no shame in that. As much as Cardiff ain't started off well, I think, you know, the last two games they've been good, haven't they? Obviously, the emphatic win against Plymouth. You know, so for me, you know what? I'm going to back Portsmouth. I'm going to back Portsmouth to get their first win at home. Friday night on TV. I'm going to say they do it. So I'm going to say 2-1 to Portsmouth in this one on this Friday night game. Lewis, how do you see this one going?
It's a tough one because, like you said, Sheffield Wednesday, they can be okay, but then they can really shit. Like, really shit. Portsmouth, obviously, they beat QPR, and obviously they've lost again, and they've lost their second choice keeper. He came off injured Tuesday in that game against Cardiff. I'm not sure what the issue is with their first choice either, so that might be their third choice playing tomorrow, which is not ideal. So I think Fern Park's not being what we would have probably thought in terms of like where they get their points mostly from is where they got the least points, really. So I think I just got a feeling Sheffield Wednesday will nick it. I think it'll be a close game. I don't think it'll be a great game. I'll probably watch the Leicester game instead, but
Yeah, I'll have to be honest. I probably will as well.
I'm going to go with 2-1 Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
Not a great game.
No, that's fair enough. I mean, another thing I forgot to say, and I'll say it now on this game, is Portsmouth haven't actually beaten since 2002, and they've played 5 times since. So, you know, Sheffield Wednesday in recent times do have a good record. All right, they haven't played regularly over them times. Obviously, you know, League Division 1, obviously in 2003, obviously League 1, all the other times. So they could continue that record. You know, you've seen it a lot of times this season. Teams have continued that, i.e., a lot of Coventry, the amount of teams they got poor records against is actually insane. See, for example, like the Swansea one, obviously it's not as big as that, but still, it's, you know, records like that. Stoke, they had a poor record. No, sorry, Norwich, they had a poor record against. I mean, there's just certain teams that you do. You know, we've had that quite a lot, but the season we got promoted, we sort of broke a lot of them records against certain teams. So, interesting one. Shout out to the Championship podcast in the chat. 2-0 to Wednesday. Fair enough. That would be a very good away win for them guys if they got that. Moving on to the next one, 12:30. Obviously, there's 3 12:30 games. The first one is Bristol City versus Leeds that we're going to look at. I mean, quite an interesting game, given Bristol City's form for me. You know, obviously they've drew their last two games. You know, they've done well, especially in the last game to come back and get the draw in the end. And, you know, they're doing a bit better now. Again, I had high expectations for them. You know, I said they're getting the playoffs. You know, just about. And they got a good win at Middles as well. You know, so they're doing well. They're doing well. They're unbeaten in their last 6, I believe. It is actually, yeah, their last 6. So they're getting a bit of form going after the poor start, especially away as well. They were very poor in the opening couple of games, weren't they? They took back-to-back 3-0 defeats away from home, whereas the last 2 games they've. What's that? Sorry. Yeah, no worries. They've got a good, obviously, win, like I say, at Middlesbrough, clean sheet as well. And then obviously Drew come back from 2-0 down against Stoke. So they are doing well. They are doing well. A bit of form's kicking on for them guys. And they are at home against Leeds. Now, Leeds obviously beat Sheffield United, which was a great victory because Sheffield United were unbeaten, stuff like that. Yeah, no worries, mate, no worries. Put the link in the chat, and I'll pin it to that stream. But yeah, as I was saying, they've done very well. Leeds to get that win. Clean sheet against unbeaten Sheffield United. Bloody hell, hopefully there's no Sheffield United fans in it. Just heard that, aka Jamie. But yeah, no, they've done well, and I also think as well, they won during the week. Maybe not as convincing as I thought against Watford. Maybe they did hold on. I didn't watch the highlights or anything, but it sounds like it. Maybe yes, they got 2 early goals, but then obviously Watford did score. So it may be a bit nervy at the end, but they got the win. Which was always good. Make Ellen Road count in that sense, but. I think it's going to be a difficult game for Leeds going away to Bristol City. Like I say, unbeaten in their last 6. They are doing well, but Leeds are in form as well, so it should realistically be a good game. And do you know what? I'm going to say a draw. I'm actually going to back Bristol City to get something out of this game. And they've not been the worst at home. They've had some high-scoring games as well at home, haven't they? Obviously, the Millwall one's the standout one. So for me, I won't go as high as that. But I'll say a 2-2 draw. I reckon there could be quite a lot of goals in this game. I think Leeds do leave themselves open at times. But then again, Bristol City do, don't they? So it should be quite a good game, I reckon. So I'll say a 2-2 draw in this one. Can you see a winner in this game, Lewis?
So far, I didn't even know Bristol unbeaten in 6. I thought it was a bit less than that, but I just can't see Leeds getting beat. I think Leeds are too good at the minute. I think they're very, very good home and away. I don't really remember seeing them having a bad game. Obviously, they beat us 2-0, I think it was. For going to Dutton Gales, it's not an easy place to go to whatsoever. And I do think Leeds will sneak it. I think it'll be a good game where there'll be chances from both ends. I don't think there are many goals, to be honest. So I'm going to go 1-0 Leeds.
1-0 Leeds, fair enough. I mean, I do think if someone wins, it will be Leeds. They'll edge it like a 2-1 or something. But yeah, it should be a good game realistically, given the form they're both on. I'll say that probably 0-0 now or something, but we shall see. But yeah, moving on to the next game, which is the Luton game. I will be at this game against Coventry away. Now, again, like I say about Coventry, we're another team they've got quite a poor record against. They haven't beat us. We're actually unbeaten against them in the last 10. But the games have been tight. The games have been tight against them. Obviously, the last game we all know that was the memorable one. If you're a Luton fan, obviously the playoff final. But last time we went to their ground was a 1-1 draw. I didn't quite manage to watch that game because I had my charity boxing fight. But I remember we were the first team to score in the whole country that weekend out of the 3:00 games anyway. I think it was Lockyer as well from memory. So, the games do be tight there. It's usually a 1-goal win, really. You look at the games, 1-0 win for us, a 1-1, a 0-0. We don't blow them out the water. The only time we've blown them out the water out of them last 10 games was that 5-0 at home, which I was at that game midweek, a good few seasons ago now. So I'm expecting a tough game, even though they're not doing, the best. They are underachieving, you could say. Obviously I had high expectations. I said they'd go up this year. I thought it was their year, but I mean, they are one of them teams, aren't they? They do have slow starts. They are similar to Luton in that sense, but I think because there's more expectation on them, their fans are a bit 50-50. Some are Robins in, some are Robins out by the sounds of it. Similar to how a lot of Luton fans were with Rob Edwards. It's turning more Rob Edwards in now because the performances are there and he is changing it up. But you have still got to get results. So, and they're not quite getting the results. I mean, they did have at this stage of the season, a 6-pointer the other day against QPR. I did watch that game. probably deserved to be a draw. If we're being honest, both teams were probably as good as each other in that game, but one of them sides would have wanted to win because of the situation they're both in. So it's not too great. I mean, they did get a win against Blackburn, 3-0 win against Blackburn, who've done very well this season. And from there on in, you're thinking, okay, well, they might kick on now. Similar to when we beat Millwall away 1-0. We thought we were going to kick on. Obviously, we won the week after, but it weren't convincing. But they've just struggled in a lot of games. If they have won, bar that Blackburn game, it's been narrow. So I'm expecting a close game, because we're not still, as much as the last two games, the performances have been there, we're still not as good as we can be. So I'm expecting a close game, but I am going to go for what win Luton like to do, especially in the season we got promoted. And I'm going to say we win 1-0. I mean, I know Haji Wright has a good goal scoring record at home. Maybe they could score, but I'm going to back us to win because the performances are there, in the last two games. It's just, well, obviously we had the controversy the last game, and then the Watford game we were just dominant. But I do think it's a massive game for them. They're at home. It's a 12:30. It's on TV. It's a good opportunity for them to try and get something in the sense of to turn their season around. Not necessarily us as a team, but I'm going to say we beat them 1-0. Famous away Luton Town win, which we don't even know. Millwall actually. About to say last time I don't know we've done that, but yeah, other than that, I don't know last time we done that. We didn't do it in the Prem last year from memory, so didn't get a lot of wins, did we? So yeah, 1-0 to Luton, I reckon, in this one. Lewis, can you see Luton bouncing back?
Yeah, I think they will. I think Cov are a funny team where they can have the lows and then they're just gonna like a bit like Nottingham Forest in the sense where, well, they are in the same situation of as what near enough I think as what Forest were that season they went up. I think it was maybe the season before. Where they're starting the relegation zone and then they end up sacking the manager, get a new manager, and then bang, they're flying, and then obviously they got. I can't remember if they got promoted or if they just lost the final. I can't remember if it was against Brentford or whatever. It was that game against Swansea where they did go up. But I think Luton will win. I think Cov. I don't think they have the sources at the minute. And I do think if Cov do lose, I think it might potentially be a final straw for Mark Robbins, because a team like Coventry who got to the playoff final last year, and they've always they tend to be pushing mid-table to high in the league. They shouldn't be where they are. So I think 2-0 Luton. I just don't see a way out for Coventry at the minute.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I'll take that. That'll be a very good away win, clean sheet as well. I mean, Championship podcast gone for a convincing win for us, 3-0. I mean, obviously, I know you did a watch along to the game yesterday. I mean, I will be on your channel in a bit, so it'll be interesting to see what everyone says about that game. But yeah, I mean, 3-0, geez, you're more confident than me, I can't lie. I do think, as much as they're not playing great, I do think that it will be a close game. Just because
Yeah,
we're not
I don't
fully
think.
into gear. We're not fully into gear ourselves. Like, we're playing much better, don't get me wrong, but we're not. There's still chances, like I said earlier, that we need to be doing better on, i.e. the Doughty chance, the Holmes chance. Do you know what I mean? Little chances like that. Some we were unlucky, like the Elijah header, McGuinness header, but there's still little tweaks that we need to work on a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think you're exactly blowing them out of the water, but I think there's been one of them games where they just don't have any chances, and then you have. Well, I think you probably have the better chances, and I think when they come, you'll take them. But I just don't think Coventry have that confidence in the minute.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's gonna be interesting for sure. I mean, I've said, us and them, I'm not saying we both have the best, but we're definitely up there when it comes to attacks. And theirs just isn't really firing, is it? Had you right every now and then, but predominantly it's not, is it? And ours wasn't until the last two games, I'd say. Well, since the Sheffield Wednesday game with Morris, but obviously he only got injured and just come back, hasn't he, for a Watford game? So, we shall see what happens with that. But yeah, we'll move on to the next game, which is Watford versus Blackburn. Now, Blackburn obviously doing very well, throughout this season. Obviously, as it stands in the table, they're up there. They're up there. I thought it wouldn't be a great season for them guys since the soon to be departure at time of Schmodix, but they've done very well. They're sixth in the table, so last spot of the playoffs as it stands, and yeah, they've done very well. Predominantly, a lot of that's obviously been at home. They're at 100% record, obviously until yesterday, when obviously they drew, but still, still unbeaten at home. But they are going away, and they are going away to Watford, who, don't get me wrong, have not been great the last two games, as we know, but they are back at home. And to be fair, as much as I don't like them, obviously, they have done well at home. Fourth best side at home, beat Stoke 3-0, part of that, beat Derby 2-1, drew with Coventry, which deserved to be a draw. What I saw highlights of that game, beat Sunderland, and then beat Middlesbrough and come back against Middlesbrough. So it's not an easy game for Blackburn. It's not an easy game for Watford either. Blackburn, when it comes to away form, are 17th. They're not terrible. They just draw a lot of games. 2-2 draw in Norwich, 1-1 with Burnley, which was a good result. Probably deserved to win that, like we said at the time. 0-0 with Preston in the derby. That's decent. 3-0 loss to Coventry. That's not great, obviously. And then a 2-1 loss to Plymouth. Plymouth away is just one of them places, isn't it? I know very well about that. But yeah, interesting game. Well, at least you drew it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, we got a point, but
yeah, it is one of them places. So, but I don't know. This one screams a draw for me. Just given the form Blackburn have been on, but Watford are decent at home. I have to be honest, this season. So I am going to sit on the fence and go with a draw for this game. I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. They both get a goal each, and I know over the years they do like a 1-1 draw at Vicarage Road. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's 1-1 again. So yeah, we shall see. Can you see a winner in this one, Lewis?
No, I'm going to go the exact same as you, 1-1. I feel like it'd be two teams that even themselves down. Watford, they're falling off a little bit. Obviously, the home form is what has them where they are in the league. Blackburn seem to struggle away from home, especially in recent time. So I'm going to send the fence with a 1-1 draw. I just feel like it will be one of them games where the chances of both teams, but they just cancel each other out.
Yeah, no, exactly. We're on the same wavelength when it comes to that. So we shall see. Moving on to the next game, and I mentioned it briefly earlier. Burnley versus QPR. Now, QPR drew to Coventry, like I said. If you're one of them teams, you want to win that. Obviously, you want to win any game, but that game especially because of the position both the teams are in. Didn't quite win. They could have won. Fair play on their goal, by the way. Yes, the keeper maybe could have done better, but I know the players scored is just kicked in really to the team, so that was a good finish as well. To be fair, taking on Burnley away at Turf Moor, though. People are saying, yeah, Burnley are not scoring a lot of goals, though, but they are predominantly defending well throughout the season. So you have to give them the credit there. They are back at home, so I can only see this going one way. But I don't think they will. A lot of people think it might be a hammering. I don't quite think that. I reckon it'll be a 1-0 win for Burnley in this. I reckon it'll be quite a cagey affair, like in the sense of I could see QPR having a bit of a spell. Because they are all right, actually, QPR away. I have to be honest, they are not too bad away this season. They sit 10th on their away form. Obviously, they beat Arsenal, was one of their standouts. I think their only win away, actually. But they drew to Sheffield United away, come back in that game as well. Drew to Sheffield Wednesday, all right. Sheffield Wednesday maybe should have won that game, but still, but their last two they've lost, but still, predominantly, they've actually, bear in mind their position, they've not done too bad away, like I say. So I think they could have a bit of a spell where they have a chance to take the lead or something, but they don't. They have a good 20 minutes, but then I can just see Burnley getting a goal and winning the game, having chances themselves to go 2 or 3 up, but they just don't. So I'll say 1-0. I'm going to say quite a tight game, actually. I think Burnley's last home game was a 1-0 as well, if I'm correct. No, sorry, their last win at home was a 1-0. But yeah, obviously I drew to Preston as well. Completely forgot about that game. That was the week we played Sheffield United. So yeah, that was the early game. But yeah, I'll say that for that game. 1-0 Burnley. You reckon Burnley will score more goals, Lewis, in this one?
Yeah, I think they will. I mean, obviously, watching them first hand yesterday, I mean, I know going away from home is a completely different story, but they were okay at stages. It's like I said to you backstage, mainly. They didn't trouble us massively. It was just one of them games where I don't know, that didn't seem to settle the ball much. And I feel like back at Turf Moor, this is where they can show the true sense. This is where they seem to hurt teams more. So I feel like really one of them games where there's challenges for both teams, but apart from Fry, I don't really see a threat in that QPR side. I mean, Chair's not looked the same since his charges came out and whatnot. I feel like this free game where Burnley just absolutely punish them. So I'm going to go with 3-1 Burnley win. I don't think it'll be an absolute stormer of a game from Burnley, but I just feel like it'll be where they just punish them through mistakes or just silly things like that.
Yeah, no, fair enough. What I will say is, obviously, we're both not expecting a QPR win. But I remember a couple of seasons ago, Lewis, remember when Harry actually predicted?
When they had Gareth Ainsworth and Harry went 1-0.
Yeah, he actually got it right. That was crazy.
1-0 QPR and then QPR.
Well, I'll tell you what, when he does, obviously he's not on today's guys, but he will send Lewis's predictions. I'll tell you what, it will be interesting to see what he says.
I guarantee you now, just for the absolute, the memories of it, he'll go 1-0 QPR. Honestly, I can guarantee it. I can just see it already.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, no, it'd be interesting to see. I reckon a closer game, but we shall see. Moving on to the next game, Lewis. I'll let you take the floor with this one. Obviously, Derby versus Hull.
Oh, I don't know, because we're not fantastic away at Derby. I've been there twice. I'm yet to see us win. We've scored, I think. Actually, have we even scored? I actually don't know. I'm actually not sure. But I can guarantee one thing: I'll come home and I'll probably, in my head, will fucking have that stupid chant, "If you don't fucking bounce, you're fucking red." I remember last time I went Derby away, I came home, I must have been singing it in my head for about fucking 2 days, I swear. But I feel like yesterday Sunderland can show what we can do. Derby, obviously, they are decent at home, especially this season so far. And I feel like we can get them. Like we saw when they played Norwich at home. Yes, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of controversy with Norwich's goals and I think like that. But so they beat Derby at their place. And to be fair, to my mind, that might be their only loss at home. Unless they lost to Bristol, but I think they drew that. But I do have a lot more confidence going into it after the game against Sunderland and Burnley. So for that reason alone, I'm going to go for 2-1 Hull. Someone has told me we'll snatch it from somewhere. Especially if you play how we did first half especially last night. But it's about maintaining that and not going 1-0 up and then going, we've won the game. Obviously, we didn't do that Stoke away. But last night, again, second in the league, who potentially could have gone top if Luton did something against Sunderland. We can't afford to go 1-0 up and go, sod it, we've won the game. Because it kind of cost us, and it, very nearly did cost us a second goal. How he missed it, I don't know, but I don't know. I feel like we'll win 2-1. I think it'll be a close contest, but I think we'll edge it from somewhere.
Yeah, I mean that's fair enough. You look at history-wise, obviously it's not the like you say, it's not the best of records there. But records are there to be broken, so you never know. I mean, I don't know with this one. I'll be honest, because it's an impressive draw. For sure. I didn't mean to make that rhyme either. That you got against Burnley. I don't know. They've been good at home, haven't they? They've only lost one game at home, and that was to Norwich, and even then that was controversial.
So, yeah.
That was controversial, wasn't it? So I don't know. And again, I do think they will be in that battle, but I think they're one of them teams. If they stay up, it will be down to that home form, and they've been terrific, really. I mean, you look at the table, they sit in 12th, which is good for a team that's come up. If they were to win this, and depending on other results, they could go up to like 9. Do you know what I mean? Like that's a brilliant start for them. But I don't know. I mean, I think a large part of it comes down to what Hull turn up. I'll be honest. In this game, I don't know, man. I really don't know with this game. I mean, I think just because how good they've been at home, Lewis, I think I might have to edge them. I'll be honest. And I'm going to say, not a dominant one, but I'm going to say it's 2-0 Derby. I could see you scoring though.
Fuck you. I hope you have a shit bye. I'm kidding.
Oh, thanks, mate.
I'm kidding.
Nah, I don't know.
I hope Coventry bring in a fucking split and smash
the They probably will, mate. You don't have to worry about that. They probably will. Because you got to remember Harry's coming. Do you know what I mean? Every time Harry's coming,
that's true.
we haven't won. I don't even think we've.
Actually, yeah.
Even when we watch them.
Why for 2-0 fucking Luton? Kill me. That's me getting no points. That's me getting. That's me and you getting no points.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Probably not. Anyway. But yeah, moving on to the next game, which is Plymouth back at home now. Obviously, I've not had the best last 2 games. Obviously, especially the Cardiff one, that was awful for them losing in the manner they did. And then obviously lost to Millwall. I mean, 1-0. I did actually predict that. I thought Millwall would just edge it due to that poor away form Plymouth had, but they are back at home, so it's a good opportunity, I feel. Preston are playing good, don't get me wrong, but that's predominantly at home, isn't it? Didn't hold on the other day as well. So I think it's a good opportunity for Plymouth. I know Preston do have a good record at Plymouth, but again, records are there to be broken, people. So I'm actually going to back Plymouth because they're at home. They are really good at home, especially this year. Beat us 3-1. Drew with Hull. They beat Blackburn, I believe. Someone good at home. Yeah, exactly. Someone good at home. So I'm going to back them to do it. Bounce back and
you missed it again there, Tyler.
Who did I say? I said us.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I said us.
I didn't hear that. I'm pretty sure they did.
Nah, don't worry. I unfortunately got that in. But yeah, I'll say 2-1. I'll say they'll win this one 2-1. I think Preston will give it a good game, but I think because they're at home, I think they'll do it. You reckon they'll bounce back being at home, Lewis?
I think they'll be better. I think they're definitely better than what they have been the last 2 games. But I feel like it's like Plymouth's not an easy place to go to, as we found out.
At least you didn't lose.
I feel like sorry.
I said at least you didn't lose.
They'll be at home. You watch.
There was parts at points where I would have took a draw. Do you know what I mean? When Moses got that goal back.
Well, there was times where well, by the end of it, I did take a draw because we should have lost. And at the time, I was happy to say that. I was happy to say that on the next championship show. And I'm more than happy to say it now. We should have lost against Luton away, honestly. But I'll take the point. I'll take points when they come. But no, I think Plymouth will definitely be better. Obviously, I think that they're missing Sissoko. I'm pretty sure he was on the got sent off at Cardiff.
Yeah,
And I feel like that's a big miss, especially like what I did at home against you guys. I think it was Sissoko that tore you apart.
they did. Yeah. Well, I remember Harry saying to me, "He's good. He's a baller, basically," and then he does that. So that was when
But
he
I
was
think
warming up.
so. I think that's a big miss. Whether he was going to start this game or whether he would have been on the bench, I'm not sure. But I feel like they'll give it a good go. But I feel like they'll just miss out. Plymouth. And I'm going to go 1-0 Preston. I feel like Preston under Paul Heckingbottom, they look very good. And a lot of people question the appointment. Well, he's proving them people wrong because he's doing a good job to start off with.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be honest. I expected him to kick on at some point because I thought that was a good appointment personally. I think we were a bit shocked, really, that Preston got him. Yeah, I was anyway because I think he's a good manager. I do. And yeah, I expect him to do well, Preston. It's just, well, I don't know. A large part of that's Plymouth being at home, and again, if it's at Preston, I would back Preston. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what
Yeah, I mean,
happens.
obviously, it's not an ideal situation to go into a game like Plymouth away when you've just bought a 2-0 lead at home against Norwich.
Mm.
But I think they'll nick it just about. I think Plymouth will play it okay, but I feel like they're lacking a goal scorer.
Mm. Fair enough. Yeah, he's not reaching the heights that we thought he would, is he? Really?
No,
Hardy's not
he's
doing
been,
as
well,
much.
for me, he's been bang average this season. I hadn't
Mm.
seen,
The only good moment
like
I can really think from him was that goal against QPR. That's it,
yeah,
really.
I mean, he didn't do a massive load against Hull when we went down there.
He
Yeah,
didn't do much against us, to be fair.
like if you look at the hype he got last season, and obviously Brentford we're planning to go for him for 20 million, but obviously it never happened in the end. He's not been the player that would warrant that Premier League move in
No,
the summer.
yeah, I agree.
Whether it's the case of he doesn't exactly want to be there, we don't know, but he's not. I don't know. He's dropped quite a bit compared to what he was last season. Obviously, like I say, with Premier League, with Premier League looking at it in the summer, you would have thought he'd want to kick on and try and make that Premier move happen in, well, whether it's January or next summer. But as of right now, I'd say if I was a Premier League club, I'm that more than we take it ain't a player I'm looking at the minute.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, mate. He's not lived up to them heights. Like when we went to Plymouth, I thought he'd score because before Brentford were, rumoured with him, we've been rumoured with him season upon season. We actually have. A lot of people are saying, let's go all out for him, when Chio left. But obviously Rooney has convinced him to stay. But I don't know, he just don't. Yeah, I agree. He just don't see the same, does he? Say that, he'd probably score now. But nah, throughout the season, he hasn't. Nah, I agree. Other than the QPR game, he hasn't really lit up trees for me. But yeah, moving on to the next game, which is Sheffield United playing Stoke. Now, Sheffield United have lost their last two after being unbeaten so far in the season. A loss to Middlesbrough. I mean, there's no shame in that, to be honest. Middlesbrough are a good side. Obviously, the Leeds game was surprising that they didn't score. me. That was more the surprise, not necessarily a loss, but just more the sense of that. So they want to bounce back. They're at home against Stoke. I mean, you never know what you're going to get with Stoke, do you? 1 minute they're good, next minute they're poor. Like they beat Portsmouth 6-1. Next minute they'll lose or something. So I think it's a good opportunity for Sheffield United to bounce back due to that. Predominantly throughout the season, they have been good at home, especially when it comes to keeping clean sheets at home. Obviously, they've won the last 4 at home, keeping clean sheets in all of them, in fact, actually, as well. Yeah. Obviously, their last home game was against us as well. It's too easy for them because we just didn't conform to how we are now, basically. So for me, I'm going to say they bounce back and get a win. And I'm going to say they get another clean sheet, actually, which will make it 5 in a row at home, which will be good for them. 2-0, I'll say. Another 2-0 prediction from me. Sheffield United bouncing back, Lewis.
Yeah, I think they will. I don't think it'll be easy because, like you said, the last 2 games have been quite surprising from them. I didn't expect them to go to Middlesbrough and, well, not necessarily lose, but not score at Middlesbrough. That was more a surprise for me. I think, they're a top side. Like, I think if Leeds don't get top 2, I think it will be Sheffield United who will sneak that second place from them. And I think that's one that go to wire. But I think purely with it being at Sheffield United, I think I'm going to back them purely to that fact. Obviously, like you said, they're very good at home. Obviously, yet to lose at home. Obviously, yeah. So for that reason alone, I'm going to go 2-1 Sheffield United. I expect Stoke to give them a game, but I've just got a feeling because Sheffield United at home, you kind of, in a sense, have to back them.
Yeah, exactly that. Moving on to the next game, Sunderland versus Oxford. Now, Sunderland are back at home, so they have been good at home. When it comes to home, they're obviously the second best team on form at home. So should be an interesting game, really. I mean, Oxford, they're no mugs. You can't underestimate them. Obviously, if they're at home, you back them more. But I mean, Sunderland have won 4 of their last 5 at home. The last one being a draw against Leeds. Maybe a bit fortunate in that the Leeds mistake from Melier, but they are good at home. They are top of the league, and I do think Oxford can give them a go in the sense of a good game, but I know that Sunderland have a good record against Oxford. I think they're unbeaten in their last 13 against them in all competitions. And again, like I say, these records are there to be broken, but I just think they'll do it Sunderland again. I think they'll find a way. But I do think Oxford will give them a good go. And I hope they do for them travelling fans. Do you know what I mean? And they've been good so far, Oxford. So I'll say they lose this one, but narrowly, 2-1 to Sunderland for me. I reckon they'll get another win in this game. I don't think they'll blow them out of the water. So I think Oxford are a good team that dig deep. And they sort of, in ways, remind me of us last year in the Prem. Obviously, we didn't quite stay up, but we gave teams games. And that's what they've done, and they've done really well. Obviously, they've got a lot of experience anyway. So, yeah, I'll say they narrowly lose this one, 2-1. Will Sunderland win again, Lewis? Stay top of the league?
Yeah, I think they will, but I think this game has the chance of being the game of the weekend.
Yeah, could do.
I think Oxford, again, I've said it multiple times, I'll say it again. To be where they are is very impressive, and a lot of people probably put them dead last in the league. And Sunderland, they're a young team with obviously bags of potential. So I think it'd be a very good game. where it'd be very, very close to goal. And I think with it being a stadium like, again, it's one of them where can you really write off Sunderland? I just don't think you can.
Mm.
So I think there'll be goals. I think there'll definitely be goals. But I think it'll be like a late winner by Sunderland. So I'm going to go 3-2 Sunderland.
Yeah, fair enough. It could be lively like that. We shall see when it comes to that. But yeah, it could be game of the weekend. Like I say, Oxford, they will give it a right go. I do expect that. But yeah, moving on to the next one, Swansea versus Millwall. Now, I don't know with this game because I do prefer to back Swansea when they're at home. However, I still don't know about them really. This is a typical championship clash, you could say, because they've both been in the championship for a while now. And I don't know, it's just got one of them games in it. I mean, 13th versus 14th. Millwall obviously won against Plymouth at home, 1-0. Swansea obviously drew with Sheffield Wednesday, which I'd say is decent away. But again, I don't know with this one. For me, it's either got Swansea 1-0 written all over it or a 0-0. But I'm going to go for a 0-0. I think it's hard to separate the teams. I mean, as much as I don't highly rate the teams, they both don't really concede a lot of goals really predominantly. So it's one of them. I'll say 0-0. I'll say this will be the 0-0 of the weekend. I mean, there weren't a 0-0 during the week, but I'll say this is a 0-0 here. So I'll go for a 0-0. Lewis, can you see a winner in this one?
Nah, I'm going to agree with you. 0-0. I just think it's got 0-0 written all over it. Swansea, I don't think they've really scored many goals. Millwall, likewise, don't see many. Just, it's not a great game, is it really?
Nah, it's not.
I just think it's just got dead rubber 0-0. I feel like it's one of them games where it feel like it's later in the season where it's right on the wall. You're not going down, you're not going up, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yep. No, I agree with that. Moving on to the next game, the last game on Saturday in the Championship, West Brom versus Cardiff. Now, you know what? You have to give massive credit where it's due to Cardiff. Obviously they had a very awful start to the season, but still got an interim, and they are actually unbeaten in their last 4 games, which is good. Given that, obviously a 1-0 win against Millwall at home, 1-1 draw away at Bristol City. Obviously beat Plymouth heavily, as we know, and then obviously won 2-0 during the week. So they're doing all right. But they are going to West Brom, but West Brom haven't been great. As we know, considering their start, their recent games they haven't been great. They've struggled quite a bit, to be fair. I mean, a lot of draws, draw heavy. To be fair, they haven't won any of their last 5. I believe it is. Yeah, it is any of their last 5. So, I mean, the draw at Blackburn is good though. I will say that because Blackburn obviously weren't going into that game. They hadn't even drew a game, let alone lost a game. So, interesting one. I mean, West Brom they are back at home though. The last 2 games have been away. I mean, Oxford away is a good draw as well, given how they've been, but Middlesbrough at home was a bit of a shock. I know Middlesbrough are decent, but still, you'd have backed West Brom predominantly if you're going to back someone. 0-0 draw at home to Millwall, not the best in my opinion. 3-2 loss to Sheffield Wednesday. I watched that game because that was the early kickoff. So I don't know with this one. I mean, Cardiff are doing all right. So again, I reckon they can give it a good go. But I am going to back West Brom to win and bounce back and not in a worse position in the table at all. They're still up there. So I'm going to say they get a win, and then they've got us on the Friday coming up next week. So 6th, 4th, which is still decent. But yeah, I'll say they win this game 1-0. I'm going to say to West Brom. You see West Brom bouncing back, Lewis?
I don't know about this game because Cardiff have massively improved compared to other side. West Brom have dropped off a little bit to where they started. So I don't know because obviously, like I say, Cardiff improved massively, and I just feel like it'll be one of them games where Cardiff will give it a go, but they narrowly miss out, or they grab a late equaliser. It's a hard one to call because, especially with, like I say, with Cardiff been recently barring obviously the barring against City, against Hull, which was I think it was 4-1.
Yeah.
Place. I think that is what I'm leaning a little bit towards West Brom in terms of they're still not out but dry in away term. I think they'll score, but I do think they'll lose. So I'm going to go with a 3-1 West Brom win. I think West Brom are very good at home, and as much as Cardiff good at home, I'm yet to see properly go for it away from home. So 3-1 West Brom.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Be a good statement win that for West Brom. Then moving on to the last game. I mean, the Sunday games we've looked at, bar last week's game. You know, the ones before that have been a bit moody, haven't they? Really. But this one should be a good game actually because Norwich are obviously unbeaten in their last 20 at home. So should be an interesting one. Middlesbrough obviously, got that win against Sheffield United as well. So should realistically be a good game. Again, for me, it's another game that could be up there for game of the weekend, potentially. Interesting game, this one, like I say. I mean, because of that record, it will be broken at some point. But I don't see it being broken now. Even though Middlesbrough are doing well, I can still see Norwich not losing. Whether that's drawing or winning, I can see them getting something. But do you know what? I'm going to say they turn up, and they have turned up a lot of the season, obviously at home. But I'm going to say they turn up in this one, get another high scoring win. I'll say Middlesbrough score, but I'll say 3-1. A 3-1 win for Norwich in this game. I could see Signs scoring again. Sargent as well. He's got a good record at the moment of scoring. He's scored in 14 of his last 17 home league appearances. So I'll say that continues and he gets at least another goal. So yeah, 3-1 Norwich for me, but not a dominant 3-1. Just they take their chances and they're just ruthless. Middlesbrough missed some good chances. But honestly, I think it could be a crazy game. Really do. So 3-1 Norwich for me. Can you see that home form coming to an end, Lewis?
No.
No.
Not after how they performed when they did what they did to us. They're so good at home. They're actually so good at home. Like, I'm pretty sure they've had back-to-back 4-0 wins out at home. I think they beat Watford 4-0 and then they beat us 4-0. I think
Back-to-back scoring four goals. Well, actually, no, tell lie. They drew in the middle of that. Your two games, they drew at home to Leeds, which is a decent.
Yeah, again, that's not a bad result whatsoever against Leeds. I don't think they can score 4 again. I mean, they can, but I don't think they will. But I do think Norwich do win. And they don't concede many at home whatsoever. So I think for me, I'm gonna back Norwich. I'm gonna go 2-0 Norwich. I think it's very rare you see a team go down. Well, like you said, 20 at home unbeaten. It's a record to be very proud of, and for that matter alone, I just can't see Middlesbrough winning the Curry Road because that is a fortress. The fans ain't like fantastic, but they know when to do it and when to not do it. I don't think we need an easy game by any stretch of the imagination, but I just feel like with it being at Carrow Road, again, it's one of them where I think you kind of can't back it against Norwich. It's 2-0 Norwich.
Yeah, exactly. Like I say, come back against Norwich at the moment. But yeah, there you go, guys. They are our predictions for the weekend's games. Obviously, there's no midweek games until the week after now. Next, so obviously we will.
Which there won't be, well, unless Tyler and Harry do one on the Sunday or the Monday. There won't be a championship show for that midweek unless obviously you can do it because obviously I'm away in Benidorm.
Yeah, I'll talk to him and see what's happening. But yeah, man. Any final things you want to say, Lewis?
No, it's obviously next midweek games. Obviously, we'll have the one next Thursday, but then when the next one after that will be, I'm not too sure because when do we get back? Do we get back for we get back there on Thursday, so whether we do one on the Friday, but it depends on how I wake up. I know we get back very late.
We'll see near the time.
We'll sort out close to the time, but just for the people out there, after next week, you might not see one the week after that at all, and obviously we'll update you when we know a bit more.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, big up to everyone that's tuned in. Whatever channel you've tuned in on, obviously, if you're on mine, do go in the description. Subscribe to Harry and Lewis' channel. So if you watch on Harry's, obviously subscribe to me and Lewis. If you're on Lewis's, subscribe to me and Harry. Obviously, subscribe to everyone if you haven't already. But yeah, man, big up to everyone. Smash a like, all of that. And we'll be going on this channel now, Sunderland fans channel. Talk about the game. So it's going to be interesting, isn't it? But yeah, no, I'll be going on that. So there's the link, guys. So click on that, check that out. And yeah, free stream.
Carlton Morris is always offside. It's always offside, 100%.
Yeah, I know, right? But no, we're not just talking about the controversy there. We talk about other bits in the game as well, guys. So check that out. I will be going on that straight away, and that'll be my third and final stream for today. Obviously, I did the hat show earlier because obviously it's birthday tomorrow, and we're going out in the evening, the usual time for the hat shows. We've done it today, but like I say, if anyone's back tomorrow, Rob Edwards says in his presser, I'll do a video, talk about it in my updated lineup, a bit more on my thoughts going into it. Updated thoughts, I guess. And then Saturday there'll be a vlog, and I'll try and do a reaction like I did at Sheffield United. Hopefully, a positive reaction, right? Because I've been to 5 games this season, I think, and I've won one of them and lost the rest. So yeah, hopefully that changes and we get another win.
So don't expect much.
Yeah, like I say, I'm not underestimating Coventry, even though they're in a bit of mud right now. We're not, we are playing better, but still, it's not going to be a battering. I'll be very surprised. I do think if we do beat someone heavily, it will be at home. But
great!
I ain't saying out of chest it's going to be any time soon. Well, saying that we did battle Watford, to be fair, but still, you know what I mean. I do think it'll be a close game against Coventry. So we shall see. But yeah, like I say, big up to everyone that's tuned in. Smash a like, all of that. Follow me across all my socials obviously if you want to, and all of that. And we will see you lot next time. So take care and peace.